So is Kenosha actually a good place to invest in 2025? Or are we seeing that investors are setting themselves up for failure right away? So we're going to share with you some real numbers, some real risk, and some real disappointments.
And some real opportunities too. So make sure that you stick around and watch the whole video because we have some real opportunities for you in this video. Let's dive right in. All right, so Aalia, why are investors picking Kenosha over bigger cities like Chicago and Milwaukee? Well, there's obviously more opportunities.
So if you really think about it, Chad, the two cities in retrospect that are big, they're mainly with apartment buildings and businesses, which is limited amount of opportunities for the investors to invest in. Also look at the location advantage of Kenosha. We are literally smack dab in the middle of everything, like Geneva, Milwaukee, and Chicago. And also the increased opportunities in Kenosha in itself.
Plus our population here in Kenosha continues to grow, and we have so much relocators that live here in Kenosha. Just people that are relocating from Illinois to live in Wisconsin for the cheaper taxes, cheaper cost of living. And like you said, people that commute to and from Milwaukee and Chicago that live in between each city for that cheaper cost of living. Just makes a lot of sense for people that are looking for investment properties to buy a duplex or a triplex or even a single family residence here and rent it out to somebody.
So we can't talk about the opportunities that are presented to these investors without talking about the market data. So can you go over what are we seeing in the prices and the taxes and the vacancy rates, Chad?
So the median home price in 2025 was about $277,500, up 3.7% year over year. That's a big jump retrospectively. Not as big as like 2020, 2021, but that's still a decent year over year return. When you looked at just the rental market, the average rents range for a single family house and duplex, you can get generally about $1,000 to about $3,500 a month in rent, depending on where it's located and depending on the size of the unit. Single family residences, if they're bigger, usually on the top end of that scale, we're seeing in like the Whitecaps area, those bigger like 2,500 to even 3,500 square foot houses are getting like the 3,500 to even $4,000 a month in rent.
So if you're really thinking about it, you are going to make some sort of profit depending obviously your loan and your interest rate and your mortgage amount that you're doing. So just keep in mind that as well. So we are seeing some of those on the higher end making that profit turn, whether it's a small profit turn, but needless to say, if it's your first time investing, that this is a perfect time to do it.
Exactly. And vacancies, you always worry about vacancies, but they're generally low, indicating that there's a strong demand for rentals. We get calls for rentals almost every day of buyers looking for rentals instead of looking to buy a house. There are a ton of people out there still looking to rent places. So if you're worried about being able to rent out a place, don't worry about it. There's tons of people out there looking to rent places all the time.
And we're looking at the big, like he said, there are a lot of people still looking for rent every day. So if you're worried that you will not find renters, you will always find renters. We are getting multiple people asking us for rent. We wish we had that amount of houses just to help them out, but just keep in mind that as well. So the comparison between Kenosha, Milwaukee, and Racine, what are we seeing?
So this is cap rates. So those of you that are worried about cap rates, this is how much you're gonna make typically on a rental. Cap rates in Kenosha are typically 2.7 to about 16%. In Milwaukee, it's about 5 to 7%. Then in Racine, it's about 7.2 to 10%. Northern Illinois, it totally depends on where you're at. If you're in Waukegan, Gurnee, Zion, those kind of areas, but it's typically about 5 to 8% is your cap rate.
So let's talk about a few strategies that we are seeing that actually works and are strong strategies. One is just the single family strategy, meaning that you're purchasing a house, you're flipping it, making it improvements, and then you are flipping it to long-term tenants like relocating families, military families, families or traveling nurses who are coming in and need to stay in an extended time. They actually create a stable demand for that. But the thing is, they will offer a lower cash flow versus a multifamily home.
Yeah, so single family homes are really great if you want to buy and hold on to that asset long term, many years, and continue to rent that property over and over, either the same family or maybe new tenants year after year. Duplexes and multifamily, they're great for house hacking. House hacking is when you're living in one unit and renting out either the other unit or other units if you have a multi-unit property. And those other units are paying for either your whole mortgage or part of your mortgage. We have a couple buyers that are looking to do that right now. They're looking for a duplex, and they're going to live in one half of it, then rent out the other half. So that other half is going to pay for a good majority of their mortgage, if not the whole mortgage. That's a really great idea when you're starting your rental portfolio, is to buy a duplex that's within your budget, live in half of it, then have the other half pay for either your whole mortgage or at least a good majority of your mortgage. So new construction homes, if you can afford to buy a brand new construction home and rent it out, that'll get you a ton of cash flow right away, because who doesn't want to live in a new construction home and rent it out? The problem is that you have to be able to afford a new construction home, either buy it out right out with cash or be able to afford the mortgage and then rent it out to somebody. There are a ton of new construction homes to the west of Kenosha and in Pleasant Prairie, especially out near the interstate. But like I said, the biggest problem is being able to afford that initial house payment right away and then being able to find a renter. Now, being able to find a renter is not the issue. It's being able to afford it right off the bat.
So the last strategies are short-term rentals like Airbnbs and stuff, because especially by downtown and the lakefront, they actually attract the tourists during the summer months. Having family here in Kenosha, so they are more apt to stay in an Airbnb, the amenities that are provided there. So that's another good investment property opportunity.
Who doesn't want to be downtown Kenosha in June, July, and August when it's beautiful down here by the lake, Simmons Island Beach, jumping on a jet ski, go down
Harbor Market every Saturday morning. So there's a lot to do in the summer. So having that short-term rental opportunity open, that is going to be a killer for business.
So we've talked about some of the really good parts about owning an investment property, but Aalia, what are some of the challenges and downfalls of owning an investment property?
So in Kenosha, there are a lot of older homes. That means there's going to be maintenance costs and that will surprise you as an investor, because you're thinking, okay, I can buy this home on a lower end because it's an older home and all that sort of stuff. And the next thing you know, the next month, the furnace goes out or the shingles fly off because we had high winds the other day. So we're looking at that as well. Especially with the properties near the lakefront and downtown area, because of the fact that they were built in the 1950s or even earlier than that. So we're looking at the aging infrastructure, so the possibility of, maintaining that property for your renters.
Property taxes. So property taxes here in the Kenosha area and Wisconsin in general tend to be a little bit higher than out of state than other states, which can eat into your cash flow if you don't factor that in when you're buying an investment property. So make sure that you factor in property taxes when you're buying an investment property, as well as other utilities. Some investment properties, they only have one furnace, one water heater, so sometimes the landlord has to pay the heating costs, and you can't pass it on to the tenants. And almost every investment property that you buy, the landlord is responsible for paying the water.
So, and we're going to be talking about the interest rates, because of the fact that if your borrowing cost is high, and kind of will start eating at your costs or your cash flow margins a little bit. So make sure you kind of think about, when you do take out that loan, how the interest rates will approach your cash flow or your profit margins in the end.
And competition, Kenosha has cheaper prices generally than other states, so we see a lot of competition from out-of-state investors coming here in the Kenosha racing area looking for investment deals. So that tends to drive up prices, tends to create multiple offers on investment properties. So if you are a new investor or even a seasoned investor looking for investment properties here in the Kenosha racing area, we tend to see a lot of other investors coming from out-of-state just looking for other great deals, just like you are. So just keep that in mind too, that you might be dealing with other investors from out of state or even in our own state or our own area, creating multiple offers.
So where are the best locations to look for these investment properties, Chad?
So downtown near the lakefront is a really great area. A lot of people want to be close to downtown just because that's where all the action is, especially in the summer months. There's a lot of jobs down here. There's a lot of going on down here. It's walkability. It's close to everything, all the small businesses. There's a lot of short-term rentals down here for people that are out of state or out of town that want to come down here and be close to everything.
And it has that little city feel so that you can walk the small businesses at night just to clear your head. So
exactly. And west, close to the interstate. So if you want to be, get those higher price points, those higher rental rates, then go a little further west, closer to the I-94, and look for the higher price homes, those higher square footage homes, and look for those homes and scoop those up. You can get a little higher rental prices for those homes, and typically those homes don't need quite as much work when you buy them either. Not all the time, but typically they don't.
So there are a lot of duplex friendly areas here in Kenosha, which are the neighborhoods actually develop that solid rental demand and higher returns for their dollar invested. Contact us and we can steer you in the right directions and where the duplex communities are. What are the best potential for your buck? So
make sure you check out our guides down below. We have a investor guide down below. Just check out our links and we'll be happy to send you over an investor guide on how to get your investment journey started.
Exactly. So
the future outlook. So how's the investment future look for Kenosha racing area, Aalia? Does it look bright?
It looks bright because of the ongoing commercial projects like Microsoft coming into Kenosha kind of develops the potential of renters into the area of new employees. New businesses are popping up everywhere, so that's also bringing in more people, and more people are looking for rentals versus homes right away, just to make sure, one, their job is secure, and two, if they like the area. There's also a lot of apartments that are being developed, which means that it is people are finding confident in the area enough to establish an apartment complexes.
Developers are obviously feel really safe building apartment complexes and selling them and filling vacancies. So
exactly.
Employment based. So like Aalia touched on, there's lots of jobs here. We continue to see employers coming into our area. Microsoft is coming in here. Uline is building a new factory or a new warehouse here. We continue to see employment growing in our area here in Southeast Wisconsin.
We will always see a strong rental demand, regardless of what kind of market that we are in. Like we mentioned earlier in this video, that we are getting asked about rental properties multiple times a day. And so if you're worried that there's not going to be a demand, there's definitely going to be a continued demand, if not an increased demand.
Definitely.
So Kenosha is a very strong investment market for 2025, and obviously not every deal will make sense to you. That's why you have us as your realtors to make sure we walk you through the process and answer all your questions at any given moment on the process for you. We definitely make sure you know all your numbers, and also factoring in the taxes can be crucial in order to profit on these investment properties that you're going to choose correctly. We are there to help you out and making sure your profit margins are protected.
So if you're serious about investing here in Kenosha, we'd love to help you. We help people just like you every single week find that perfect duplex, triplex, or single family home to invest in. make sure that you give us a call or shoot us a text at 262-331-1621. Or grab one of our guys down here in the links of the description of the video.
Till next time, guys.
Have a great day, and we'll see you in the next video.
Okay. I just looked and got distracted because these people, there's a lot of distractions today.
You want to do it outside.
I know, but I'd rather do it outside than this stupid couch. Also, you sound really like rehearsed, but it's not really rehearsed.
I know.
It's weird.
It really is.
Oh, the kiddos.
Here come the kids.
Milwaukee and Chicago in retrospect.
What caught your distraction?
People need to stop giving me eye contact. Stop doing that, man. Just have to work hard and focus. But there's so many things go wrong. Why is he going in the trunk?
It's gonna make for a lot of good bloopers.
All right, go on. Also, the affordability in Kenosha.
It's gonna take us forever to get there, you know.
It is. That's okay. I'm in no rush.